Ling, a hero with one of the hardest ultimates in the entire game. To use it properly, it's not enough to just know the mechanics, you actually need to be fast-hand. That's why I decided to throw myself into a challenge. I've got only 5 days to see if I can learn Ling and turn into a fast-hand Ling player or not. During these 5 days, I'll play a few matches with Ling every day, review my mistakes, and try to improve. From day 1, where I basically know nothing, all the way to the last day, where we'll see if I can really play like a fast-hand player. Oh, and there's one funny detail before we start. Before this challenge, I had only played 2 matches with Ling and I had a 100% win rate. But trust me, that 100% wasn't skill at all. It was pure luck, and very soon, you'll see exactly why. Day 1. Honestly, I had no idea how to play Ling. I didn't know how much damage I could deal, and I had no clue when I was actually supposed to join a fight. So, my very first match with Ling went like this. I either messed up my ultimates and couldn't properly dash toward the swords, or I just used them to escape. Sometimes I did get a kill, but honestly, it felt more like stealing than actually earning it. Overall, I was terrible, but somehow, we still won the first game. Match 2? Even worse than the first one. Not only could I not land a single proper ultimate, but I also couldn't even secure my buffs. And playing Ling without blue buff? Trust me, it's pure torture. I was completely bullied by Yi Sun-shin and his team. That's when I thought, maybe I should switch to classic mode so it'd be easier, and I could actually get used to Ling. And guess what happened? I died, then died again, and again, and again. Isn't classic supposed to be easier? Even though I didn't land a single proper ultimate, just like the first 2 games, we somehow, once again, managed to win the 3rd one. Remember at the start of the video, when I said my 100% win rate was pure luck? Well, now you know why. You might laugh at me, but I actually ended day 1 with a match against hard AI. At least there, I was able to pull off 1 or 2 half-decent ultimates and get a bit more comfortable for the upcoming days. Day 2. I started day 2 in training mode. Tried using Ling's ultimate in different parts of the map, and the result? Not much different from day 1. I knew how the ultimate worked, I had practiced it, but I couldn't pull it off in real matches. Problem 1. I couldn't trap enemies in the middle of it. Problem 2. I couldn't find the swords to dash to, especially when fights got messy or the swords got stuck in walls. That left me stunned and dead. But I did learn a few things. Ling's energy drains super fast. Ling's energy, called lightness points, can be refilled in 2 ways. While he's on a wall, he gets 4 extra points every second, and every time he hits creeps, minions, or even enemies, he gains 5 more points. When you're on a wall, using skill 2 doesn't cost energy, but if you drop down with skill 2 and try to ultimate, skill 2 is still on cooldown, and you can't dash in time. The fix? If you drop with skill 2, do a few basic attacks first, then use your ultimate, but it's risky. You could get stunned, so watch out. In the end, day 2 ended with loss, and a whole bunch of other losses, but at least I learned a few things that might help me on day 3. Day 3. Day 3 was kind of a mix of wins and losses. Once again, I started the day in training mode, but this time, besides practicing my ultimates, I also tried dashing between walls a few times, hoping I could finally make up for the disaster of the first 2 days. By the 3rd day, I was slowly getting a bit better. I was using my ultimates and dashes more effectively, and sometimes I even managed to land proper ultimates. The only problem was, I still wasn't fast enough to dash toward the swords right after. At least I was starting to feel my very first improvements. But to be honest, I wasn't anywhere near good enough to carry my team. Thankfully, with the help of my teammates, we did manage to win a few games here and there. Oh, by the way, did you know that if you recall while Ling is on a wall, your first skill doesn't go on cooldown and stays ready to use? I had no idea about that until day 3. And you know what's one of my favorite things about Ling? Stealing Lord. Thanks to Ling's ultimate, even if your team is behind, you can still sneak in and steal Lord, or even the turtles. So, whenever you pick Ling, don't hesitate to contest the turtle. You hold the winning card. But the closer I got to the end of day 3, the more losses started piling up. Even though I was definitely playing better than the first 2 days, I still lost more matches. Sometimes it was because I picked Ling too early and got countered. But most of the time, it was just because I was still a noob. The truth is, I didn't have much time left, only 2 more days to go, and no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't even get close to playing like a Fast-Hand Ling. So I closed the game and went straight to YouTube. Maybe there was some secret behind those Fast-Hand Ling players that I didn't know about. And guess what? Yes, there is a secret. One that can completely change everything. But to find out what it is, you'll have to wait until day 4. Day 4. After all those losses in the first 3 days and dropping back to mythical honor, I realized that even knowing the secret of Fast-Hand Ling wasn't enough. I needed at least 1 full day of practice in classic mode. I started out in training mode, practicing the fast hand trick a few times, then jumped into my first classic match. This time, I tried to work on my mistakes. For example, I stopped using my ultimate too early just to escape. I tried not to waste it, and instead saved it for the best possible moments to join fights. Slowly, I was also starting to realize just how much damage Ling can actually deal. By the way, never underestimate Ling's basic attack damage. With just a few basics and his second skill, you can easily take down squishy backline heroes. Fun fact, Ling's second skill also counts as a basic attack. After learning the fast hand secret, I still didn't have that crazy speed yet, but my ultimates were getting much better. Even if I was a little slow, I made sure to dash toward every sword so my hands could get used to it, and at the same time, my first skill would come off cooldown faster. Now, what's the actual secret? The first thing you should know is never dash directly toward the swords. Instead, aim slightly to the left or right. This way, it's much easier to collect all of them. Imagine Ling's ultimate as a circle, and then picture a square inside it. The best dash points are at the intersections between the circle and the square. But here's the real trick. When you cast Ling's ultimate, you don't have to wait for the swords to hit the ground. If you dash toward them before they land, Ling will automatically move in that direction. That means you can even line up your second dash before Ling actually touches down. For example, dash to the first sword, then aim your joystick between the second and third sword, a little closer to the third. The moment Ling grabs the first sword, instantly release the second dash, and you'll notice the difference right away. This is exactly the technique that pro Ling players and those flashy TikTok clips use. Of course, pulling it off in ranked or even classic still isn't easy, but after a few classic matches, I ended day 4 with a ranked game. Even though we lost, I felt more confident because I was finally starting to use Ling's skills and ultimate much more effectively. Day 5. By day 5, hearing the sound of victory was no longer anything new to me. My rotation with Ling had gotten way better. I knew when to back off and when to chase. My ultimates were faster and more accurate, and I was finally starting to understand how to actually play Ling. Honestly, I still died sometimes, but it didn't matter. I was winning games anyway. Winning was nice, but I still hadn't managed to get that one thing, MVP. So I promised myself, day 5 doesn't end until I get it. I jumped into match 2, and it went even better than the first one. I knew that if I farm well, even my basic attacks can easily take down enemy marksmen or mages. I was moving across walls way faster, and thanks to my ultimate, I could easily secure lords. We won that game too, but still no MVP. So I queued up again, and finally, I got it. MVP at last. Match 3 turned out to be my best game with Ling throughout this whole 5-day challenge. I played with more confidence. I wasn't afraid to use my ultimate anymore. Even though the enemy mage and jungler were really strong, I tried to play like a real assassin, jumping in from the walls, deleting the enemy backline. And if I ever got caught, I used my ultimate to escape, but I made sure not to waste it too early. And at last, I managed to carry an entire game all by myself. Maybe I didn't become a true Fast-Hand Ling in just 5 days. And yeah, maybe I lost more games than I won, but honestly, it was worth it. Now I know how to actually play one of the strongest assassins in the game. More importantly, I know his strengths and weaknesses, and even if Ling is on the enemy team, I know how to counter him. So if you want to become a Fast-Hand Ling too, don't wait around. Jump into it. Sure, at first it's going to tilt you like crazy, but trust me, it's worth it.